Okay, so in this video, we're going to look at percentage increase and decrease questions. All right, so a little recap on percentages. Remember, a percentage is always out of 100, okay? So if you were trying to convert a percentage to a fraction, it's always out of 100. That's what percentage actually means, out of 100. So that's always what it is as a percentage. Even if it's just 3%, it will literally just be 3, but still, of course, out of 100. The corresponding decimal to that then, of course, is 0.52. 2 zeros, 2 decimal places. Okay, 52 divided by 100 is, of course, 0.52. And 3% is 3 out of 100. That is 0.03. Again, 2 zeros, 2 decimal places. So that is 3 divided by 100, which is, of course, 0.03. The easiest way to work out percentages is to multiply by the equivalent decimal, okay? So if I wanted to get 52% of, let's say, 420 euros, I would just literally multiply by the decimal. So 420 multiplied by 0.52. And that works out to be 218, and because I'm talking money, I'm always going to give 2 decimal places with money. Okay, so 218 euros and 40 cents. Okay, so now we're going to look at a question where we're asked to increase 560 euros by 30%. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to find what 30% is. And of course, as we just did in our little recap there, the easiest way to get a percentage of a quantity is to take the quantity and multiply by the decimal. So 30% is the same as 0.30. And this is really important to show as your operation and as you're working out, okay? It's really important that you don't just use percentage buttons on the calculator, that you're showing the examiner, you know what the actual calculation is. So a good rule of thumb and a good exam technique is whatever you tap on the calculator, make sure that that's what you write down as you're working out. Because if you make a little slip up or some little mistake, this is what you're going to get loads of marks for, okay? So show it. So 560 times 0.30 is 168 euros, of course. Now, if 30% of 560 is 168, and I'm asked to increase this amount by the 30%, since this is my 30%, what I'm now going to do is I'm going to increase the 560 euros by that amount. And that means you're going to add it on. We've found what the 30% is. So this basically means increase 560 by 168 euros, because that's the 30%. So 160 euros added on to 560 works out to be 728. And that is your answer. So 2 steps involved there, find the 30% and then add it on for an increase question. Okay, let's have a look at this example. This time we're asked to decrease 280 euros by 25%. So again, the first thing we're going to need to do is find out what that 25% is first. Then we can look to decrease the 280 by that. So first of all, we'll find 25% of 280 euros. And again, what we'll always do is take our value and multiply by the decimal equivalent. 25% is equal to 0.25. So 25% of 280 is 280 times 0.25, which is 70 euros. And now because this is a decrease question, it means I'm going to take my 280 euros and I'm going to subtract. I need to decrease 280 by this amount. So it's going to be 280 minus 70, which is 210 euros. Okay, let's have a look at this question. This time I want to increase 385 euros by 5%. So again, the first thing I'm going to do is find 5% of 385 euros. Now, if you feel confident from here, pause the video and try the rest of that question yourself. So 385. Now 5%. 5% as a decimal is 5 out of 100. 5 divided by 100, which is 0.05. Okay. So 385 times 0.05, and the answer I'm getting is 19 euros and 25 cents. I want to increase this amount by the 19 euros and 25 cents. So again, show you're working out, okay? Because it's so easy to make a little slip up. And if you don't show the examiner that you know to add that on, and that's what you're doing, then you possibly could lose marks, all right? And so what I'm getting here then is 404 euros and 25 cents. Now, what I want to do here is I want to show you another way of doing that percentage increase question. A quicker way of doing that percentage increase question, all right? If you want to increase by 5%, you are basically looking for this amount with 5% added on. Now, this amount is represented by 100%. It's your total amount. If I want to add on 5%, technically what I'm looking for is 105%. 105% of that value will get me the 5% and add it on. So since this is just the percentage that I want to get, and I know how to get a percentage of a quantity, I just multiply my value, 385, by the decimal of my percentage. Well, 105% is 105 out of 100. All percentages are out of 100, which in decimal form is 1.05, 2 decimal places, 2 zeros. So if I just multiply by 1.05 here, I'm getting 404 euros and 25 cents, which was my final answer here. But I'm doing it in one quick step. So what I'm actually working out is the new percentage that I'm looking for first, and then just getting that percentage of the quantity, and that's giving me the 5%, but also adding it on. So if you want to increase something by 5%, you basically want 105%, and that's what you work out. Okay, let's try this question. We're going to try it the quicker way. Okay, if I want to increase 880 by 35%, I am basically looking for 135%. Okay, pause the video here if you feel confident with the quick method and see how you get on. So if I want 135% of 880, I'm going to take my quantity and multiply by the decimal version of 135%, which is 1.3. And 188. And in one quick step, that has worked out what the 35% is and added it on. Okay, let's try a decrease question the quick way. Okay, this time I've been asked decrease 720 euros by 20%. So if I'm going to work out the percentage first, remember you always start with 100%. Okay, this is always representing your 100%. And then you're going to look to either increase or decrease it. In this case, we're decreasing. So we're taking away 20%, which means the percent that we're actually looking for is 80%. And what I can go ahead and do now is just find 80% of 720. So I take my 720, multiply by the decimal 0.80, and I'll get my answer, 576. Okay, last question. Pause the video if you want to give this one a go on your own and try it the quick way. We want to decrease 450 euros this time by 6%. So if we want to decrease by 6%, what we're really looking for is 94%. So we're going to take our quantity and multiply by the decimal version of 94%, which is 0.94, and we are getting 423.